Hello and welcome to Business Edition. In this program, I have with me Amos Mwansumbuwe, who's the Executive Director of Tanzania Liquefied Petroleum Gas LPG Association. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
We'll be looking at the development of this sector, the opportunities as well, its growth, and we hope to hear a lot more.
This is a newly formed association. They're mostly formed by LPG companies, 6 of them currently. We also have some members, as you know, who are still planning to join this association, because currently in Tanzania we have about 9 LPG companies.
When we look at the environment of the LPG in Tanzania, we've come quite a long way. Let's say 10, 15 years back, not so many consumers were actually using this. There are very few who are actually using LPG. But now we're seeing that a lot more people are using. The market is growing. What do you think has led to this growth?
According to data from EWURA, the institution which regulates LPG in Tanzania, in 2021, we had reached about 136,000 tons, which translates into about 136 million million of kilogram of gas, 136 million kilogram of gas. That is a significant achievement. Over the last 10 years, we were around between 5,000 and 10,000. So by 2021, we had reached 136,000 tons. It's a significant increase. And on average, the growth has been between 10 and 15% year on year. And so we expect even in 2022, probably will be around between 160 and 170,000 tons of LPG. Why that increase? Yeah, definitely. LPG is a very versatile product compared to the traditional source of cooking energy, charcoal and firewood, okay? Because it's relatively cleaner. Is in terms of convenience. If you want to cook something, you take much more shorter time to cook compared to charcoal and firewood. And also, of course, in terms of the entire, for example, in the cooking, in the kitchen, the environment becomes quite neat compared to other traditional source of cooking energy. So I think people have realized that LPG is a better product for cooking than other traditional sources of cooking energy. But still, although the increase has been quite good, exponentially in fact, but we still have a lot to do, because a huge portion of population is still using dead fuels, which is basically charcoal, firewood and kerosene. So we need to convert that to those people to more cleaner source of energy, which is LPG. So we still have to do a lot, and this is of course from the private sector, working with the government, and of course people like you, media, to educate people.
There's the issue of price as well. I know many times they're saying, gas is too expensive. I'd rather use charcoal, I'd rather use firewood. What can be done to be able to bring down prices? Because I know that when it comes to LPG prices, it depends on the world market prices.
Very correct. The LPG, like any other petroleum product, like petrol, diesel, kerosene, is imported 100%, because Tanzania does not produce its own petroleum products, apart from natural gas, which is produced in Mtwara and Lindi. Now I'll give a bit of differences between LPG and natural gas, so that people do not confuse these two gases. But why the price is not easily controlled from LPG companies' perspective or from government point of view is because we import from abroad, overseas, and this is the product which is normally marketed at the global market. So you actually get it from global prices, which are already set. We are not set locally. And because the composition of import cost is between 50 and 55% of the total price we pay when we purchase LPG, it becomes quite difficult to control LPG prices. But I'm not saying that there are no efforts being done to actually bring down the prices. And one of the key effort is actually from the government side. The government has actually done a lot. Currently, LPG in Tanzania is not charged taxes. So LPG does not have VAT, does not have import charges or whatever cost, import costs are not in LPG compared to other products, petroleum products. So that is a clear indication that the government feels that LPG is a product which can save many people from using dirty fuels. Apart from the government, these companies, LPG companies, which import and distribute LPG, currently I can say they are indirectly subsidizing the prices. An example of that is that, for example, imagine the price of LPG in Kigoma, which is the most, is quite far from Dar es Salaam. Is almost, in many cases, the prices are quite similar to Dar es Salaam. Okay, so it means otherwise it would have been more than that, because once you import the product into Dar es Salaam, you have to transport it to Kigoma, so you have to add the transport cost. So definitely the price there is supposed to be higher than Dar es Salaam, but you find that the prices are quite similar to Dar. Why? Because these LPG companies are quite committed to ensure that many people shift from using dirty fuels to clean energy. By doing that, they'll increase also the economy of scale, because you actually get the economy of scale benefits like tariff, a premium for freight, and negotiation where you are buying if you have bigger volumes. So once they increase that, the increase becomes apparent, then definitely, which of course will be driven by many people using LPG, automatically the cost will be down, but also the consumption will go up, which will give benefits to LPG companies and the public as well. So they are subsidizing. So the government has taken out the taxes. LPG companies are currently subsidizing the product to ensure that many people use this product. But of course, more efforts have to be done.
Okay, so does it mean we also need to increase more players in this area? More companies, the prices are likely to go down as well?
Sorry.
Once competition is there, everyone's,
Yeah. I think the competition is already there, and of course, from common sense point of view, is that once we increase the players in the market becomes more competitive. But at the same time, it depends. You have to balance, because you always have trade-off. Even now, I believe there are companies out there who have been watching very closely the market in Tanzania. Okay, why currently we only have 9? Because they are seeing that probably they have to wait a bit. Okay, because of the challenges which the current companies are facing. Okay, but so I can say the existing companies are actually pioneers. And it's not that they are getting a lot of margins or profits out of it. In fact, they are balancing their costs and profits to ensure that many people get out of using dirty fuels. So to answer your question, I can't say yes or no. If you increase the players, the price will go down, because we also have, we also have many players in petroleum products, other liquid petroleum products like petrol, diesel, kerosene. But as you see, the government has been trying to also subsidize the product, and because, as I said, if the price is driven by the world market, it's very difficult for the players to control it. Okay,
so you talked about that the 9 players that are currently operating in the country right now are sufficient, shall we say, but they're facing challenges. What are the major challenges that they're facing in this area?
Okay, there are a couple of challenges, and that's why actually I'll say they thought that it's better to form this association, the Tanzania LPG Association, because through that then they'll have a unified voice to air their views, to engage the government in a more constructive way, of course the government and other players. But also there is a need to ensure that there is a discipline in the market. I'll tell you, one of the challenges these companies face is what we call illegal refilling. Illegal refilling, where you have illegal refillers who are actually taking from the market, correcting from the market cylinders from the LPG companies, and trying to refill those cylinders with smuggled product. Okay? Now, by doing that, they actually affect the LPG companies in a way that the turnaround of cylinders becomes too low. Okay? Because those cylinders cannot go back to be refilled to the at the LPG companies. So they stay longer in the market than the actual time need to be spent to refill. What does it mean? That increases the cost of investment in cylinders, because if you don't have many cylinders coming back to refill, you have to buy new ones and put again, okay? So the problem becomes cyclic, and that's the big challenge they have. So it raises the investment cost for LPG companies, and this is something which we want to work in using the association to address that. Stopping illegal refilling, of course, working closely with regulatory authorities like EURA, weight and measure, fire and rescue forces, to ensure that we address that. That's one of the challenges. Another challenge, of course, is the infrastructure in some areas. Of course, I understand the government has done a lot and continue to do a lot. Because one of the challenges why people are not using LPG, especially in remote areas, is because maybe roads are not accessible. So, or if there are some roads, then the delivery cost is very high. So the product becomes also very expensive. So infrastructure is very, very key. Another challenge is on the side of safety. Safety. Now, the issue I talked about illegal refilling. If you have many incidents occurring in the market, fire incident, for example, killing people, destroying properties, assets, then with the current relatively low awareness of people will be frightened. People will not want to use LPG because of safety issues. Okay, so we actually needed to address that, and not only from private sector, but also working with other stakeholders, as I say, government institutions, especially to fight those illegal refillers, because those illegal refillers are also they actually create a problem to end users, consumers, because they don't fill those cylinders with the right weight. Okay, so if you are buying a gas of 15 kg of gas, they end up refilling maybe 10 or 12. And with our current environment in Tanzania, where we are used to ask the boda to go and pick the cylinder for you, and the cylinder is not weighed, because those dealers do not have weighing scales to check before they give you a cylinder, to check whether the cylinder has a proper weight. then you are buying less than actually what is supposed to be bought.
We've heard the complaints
yes,
from various regions. The other day I was hearing people in Sumbawanga, in Geita, I think they're complaining.
yes,
even in Simiyu.
in Musoma as well.
Musoma as well. It
yes.
seems that the area
Exactly.
has problems with these gas cylinders.
Yes, weight.
The weights, yeah.
Yes.
And that's why there's a campaign, I think, through inspection exercise
Exactly.
on these, the kind of measuring equipment
Weighing
that
scales.
we use, scales.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So that's a big challenge, and that affects the marketing companies, because if you have people who are complaining about value for money, simply because the cylinders do not have appropriate weight, and they are paying more because you'll be using that cylinder for relatively few days, then people are deciding to say, hey, maybe I go back to my charcoal. So that is a challenge which is affecting the community, the society, but also is affecting the LPG companies. Another challenge is actually, as I said, the infrastructure. We need to expand the receiving infrastructure, the port, especially from port side. Currently, our port allows only 5,000 tons ship to arrive, to be received at the port. I know Kenya, they are relatively doing well. I know government and TPA, they have some plans to expand. So that will be very important for us to actually ensure that the infrastructure is improved, and therefore we are able to bring relatively bigger ships, because if you bring bigger ships, then definitely the freight becomes down, and your entire operation, receiving operation, becomes more efficient.
Okay, and what about the storage facilities? Are there opportunities there for local investors?
Yes, there is. In fact, the reading investor currently is a local one. Of course, is a local one, and I believe that there are many people who might not be aware on the potential opportunities in the LPG industry, and I want to encourage them wherever they are, because I think not only in Tanzania serves the neighbor countries like Rwanda, Zambia, Burundi, Eastern DRC, Malawi. All these countries, their people are shifting to LPG, and LPG is going to be the next transition cooking energy source. Because, as you know, many governments are trying to address the issue of afforestation. Because forests are being killed, people are cutting trees, and with the time, we see that our forests are disappearing. Currently, you go to the village, it's very difficult to find firewood in the neighborhood. Maybe you have to walk 5 kilometers from there. So with the time, it will be much more difficult to get firewood and, of course, charcoal, okay? And the next source, reliable and modern source of cooking energy, will be LPG. Electricity, yes, is a good one, but again, production cost for electricity for cooking, the cost is relatively high. Kerosene is not currently, we are discouraging people to use kerosene. It's not good for health. So LPG is going to be the next source of cooking energy, not only in Tanzania, but neighborhood. Now, with that coming up, definitely, I think we really needed to work on the infrastructure so that can save us and our neighbors.
So for those Tanzanians who want to venture into this area, where do you see the opportunities? In distribution, investment in terms of coming up with storage facilities? Where do you think that many Tanzanians can benefit?
I think they can benefit across the value chain, across the supply chain. Right away from putting up terminals, okay, receiving terminals, which we call terminals when you are receiving product from the ship to the storage facility. Those facilities are called terminals. Then we have also a country depot, where you load the product, let's say in Dar es Salaam, from the terminal, you transport it, let's say to Morogoro or to Dodoma, you put another small depot there where you can stock your product and fill in the cylinders, okay? So all those, there are people, I'm very sure there are people who are capable in investing in terminals. There are people who are capable in investing in depot. There are people who are capable in investing in trucks, because that's another challenge which we have. Currently, in the market, we have relatively lower number of LPG trucking companies. You don't have many people investing. Of course, it depends on the demand as well. But as the demand grows, we'll definitely need more investment in, for example, vehicles which transport LPG. But also, as you said, in distribution. Distributors, those we call normally super dealers, who normally buy the product from the LPG companies, and then they distribute using those small dealers, retail dealers, who now sell to consumers. So there are a lot of opportunities across the chain. Then you have also equipment, LPG equipment, which are normally used for LPG, either storage like cylinders.
What about manufacturing of cylinders?
Yeah, yes, to manufacture cylinders, to manufacture what we call accessories, which is basically the regulators, the valves, those hoses which are used for piping. So yeah, and then you also have opportunities for technicians. For example, our young boys who come from vocational training centers, VETA, welders. We need welders, mechanics who can now be used in terms of for LPG facility construction. So there are a lot of opportunities. And I'm sure as the industry grows, we'll see many people being employed in the sector.
But you yourself, what do you think that will really drive this market? By prices coming down, by capacity, or to import a lot more LPG into the country? What is it, do you think, that will really drive it and make sure that a lot more Tanzanians actually use it?
It is inevitable to, as I said, in the next maybe 3 or 5 years, it will be very difficult to use charcoal and firewood, especially with the generation we are having now. Young people do not want to,
put charcoal and firewood.
Put charcoal because the time is very precious. Many people will be actually involved to shift from charcoal to LPG, because we are having the younger generation which is not interested to taking too much time putting up your charcoal and firewood. That's one. So to me is rather a natural shift process, but the key thing, as I said before, awareness is very important, because if we work together to engage people to understand the benefit of LPG, that is a very, very number one. Affordability, yes, but I will not put as a first thing, because there are people who are actually able to afford to buy gas, even here in Dar es Salaam, but they are using charcoal. Why? Because they have relatively low awareness on the benefit of LPG, either because of safety concerns or some traditional beliefs. Because some people say, if you cook, let's say, rice or
charcoal,
beans using...
It's tastier.
Yeah, the taste is it's not there. So we needed to say, but those are stimuli from experiences we have been having, that cooking using charcoal, the taste is... Once you start cooking using LPG, you'll also experience a different kind of stimuli, and definitely you'll be satisfied. So all those need to be addressed through proper education, awareness. So awareness is number one. Number two is, as I said, infrastructure, accessibility, because you can't talk about people using LPG if people are not even to see the cylinder for LPG company, or let's say a cylinder for Manji, cylinder for all gas, a cylinder for... Or people buy the cylinder today, in the next 1 month the cylinder is finished, the gas is finished, that person goes to a retailer, and retailer has no, let's say, the company which the consumer is doing in stock. So that becomes a problem. So accessibility and network distribution is very critical. Then you can talk about now affordability. Now affordability, as I said, I like to target it to low-income people, people whose cash flows are quite minimal. For example, a person is able to generate an income of 2,000, 2,500 a day for cooking energy. Okay. Now, if this person is using, yes, he has managed or she has managed to get a cylinder of a gas at 25,000 shillings, she starts using it. At the end, when that gets finished, then that person does not have that money again, 25,000 shillings, to go and buy gas. But only, maybe she or he have only 2,500. He'll go back to charcoal. Okay? So it becomes on and off. So how do we address that? That is where actual innovation needs to come in. Through, for example, microfinancing. It means, and I said, maybe I didn't mention this, the price of the gas itself is not a big issue. The big issue is the starter pack. When somebody wants to shift from charcoal to LPG, to buy a cylinder, to buy gas, and to buy cooking stove, to buy accessories, so the cost becomes maybe around 100,000. Now that person, where does he get that money? So if we come, and again, I say this because there are people who are involved in the financial sector who can really
actually provide these on long basis.
Especially banks. Yeah, they can, through proper arrangement, they can provide loans to these people, and that will help a lot to take the massive number of people down there who are using everyday charcoal and firewood to shift them to LPG. And some of them have already started, and it is producing a very promising results.
So we need a lot of innovation in that area.
Innovation,
so currently, the biggest users are what? Institutions, hotels, when it comes to the LPG market right now? Yeah,
currently, in fact, the leading market is the retail one. Retail, when I say retail, means the household consumers. In Tanzania, what we call institutional consumption, yes, is good, but I think it still need to go up. But as you know, I
remember the president saying that, you know, they need like the prisons and that kind of thing. They need to start using this instead of using charcoal and firewood.
Exactly. I think
so maybe that will also change the scene in
the mindset mentality. Yes. So the president last year, through Minister of the event, was a conference which was organized by Minister of Energy, and the president actually went there to open it. It was very useful for entire industry, because the president has set a very clear tone to everybody that LPG is going to be should be the appropriate source of clean cooking energy, and all institutions should plan for that. So I think from our private sector point of view, we have started actually utilizing that opportunity. So we have been in touch with the different institutions to grow up. But I think it will take some time. Okay, it will take some time. But I'm sure we are really in a very good sort of progress.
Okay, so maybe as a final word for Tanzanian businesses, maybe who want to venture into this sector, what can you tell them as we wind up the program?
So, if somebody wants to venture into this sector, as you know, the institution which is responsible for this is EURA. First of all, you need to get the requirements, what is required, depending on which category of business you want to venture into. So if you want to be an LPG company, then there are several conditions for that. And those conditions are definitely available in the EURA website. You can get all the requirements. If you want to be a distributor, which we call a distributor is actually working between the LPG company and the retailer dealer. Then also there are some requirements for that. If you want to be a dealer, for example, you want to start small, and then grow, then you go into a dealership, retail dealership business. But also, as I said, transportation, construction, like engineering companies, yeah, are all involved in the entire supply chain, and there are a lot of opportunities. Now, all those requirements for these are actually very well articulated in the EURA's regulatory rules in their website, and you can get that. But also, they can approach the association to get some guidance for that, in case they want to get some support from the association. They can approach the association. And also we welcome them. We want to, because currently, as I said, the members, the founding members are only 6, which are all LPG companies. But our plan is to ensure that this association accommodates all type of stakeholders who are involved in the LPG industry. So we welcome them, distributors, dealers, transporters, contractors, technicians, all of them. If they really wanted to invest in LPG, I think the place where they can really benefit and get all the requirements is the association.
Okay. I wish you all the best. It sounds promising. It looks there's a lot of opportunities in this area.
Sure.
Okay. It was nice talking to you. I had with me Amos Mwansumbua, who's the Executive Director of Tanzania Liquefied Petroleum Gas LPG Association. My name is Yvonne Msimambo, saying goodbye until next week.
Watch Capital Television on Zouk Decoder, channel number 067, Digitech Decoder, channel number 1103. Capital Television.